it's so kindergarten that it really doesn't restrict Fred at all. All it says is he can't really run an election. He's still going to be able to appoint whoever the fuck he wants to. I'll be honest with you.
I agree, and I think there's a second aspect of this too, is the legislation inherently can be contested for being unconstitutional.
Of course.
Right. So Larry's on the way down. So let me tell you, Tilly, Archie, and Kevin. For the past 3 months, our office has witnessed the marshals go from useful to absolutely useless. Michael here was shot down because of one of them, and they treated him like he was a member of Cyprus. He got no recourse out of it. And very similar to Tilly's situation with the, with the subpoena, it was like they simply wanted, like remorse or something to come out of it, but instead they got nothing. They got silence. And so that silence was, well, we investigated and we found nothing. We investigated ourselves and we found nothing wrong type shit.
Oh, the classic.
The classic. And the worst of it is, Michael was a member of the cabinet, which inherently becomes like a responsibility of the marshals. Like, it's a member of the government, right? And to handle it the way that it did is like akin to, like, I mean, I'm not going to draw too many parallels, but it was ridiculous. From the onset of Daisy Moss getting hired, she has been nothing more than bullied by Angel and her posse. From the very first day, the cadet of police meme started circulating around, and I'm not even going to get to where its origins actually come from, but not a good place. And so where does this kind of go? Over the last 4 weeks, I have been observing marshals slowly overstepping. And specifically what I mean by that is going to meetings and telling cops, you need to do X, Y, and Z. But to explain so that everyone is on the same page is that they've been saying, for example, if you see this, you must charge them with this. That is illegal. And so that we're all on the same page here, when a law enforcement officer charges someone, they must have the ability to articulate why that charge exists. If a secondary party encourages a charge or says and demands a charge, and that processing officer is not able to articulate it, number one, that can be a civil rights violation. Number two, it can be a legal set of charges, etc., etc. You all with me so far?
Yeah.
Yep.
I raised this concern with Peters present, the assistant chief, with a set of marshals who refuse to acknowledge the notion that if they are giving directives and not corrective measures, be it training or otherwise, that it is only going to be seen as creating disunity in the department, steering cops the wrong way, and number three, it is not productive. They refuse to not only acknowledge this rather common sense thought process, but they went and said that it is not their job. They are only oversight. And then they refuse to define what exactly oversight is. And I went to the extent of saying, let me give you an example. Do you know what an oversight committee is in Congress? And it was, met with, I'm too stupid, I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? Like some bullshit response. Like, I am oversight for you guys in the cabinet. If y'all do something wrong, I'm going to talk to you about it and explain why and tell you the corrective measure. They're not doing that. So it just kind of comes in as them coming in as a third party, not communicating directly with high command. So I said, listen, if there's issues and patterns, why are you not documenting it and going to LSPD high command and saying, we're noticing these things, we need you to look into it? Right? Isn't that like normal thought process?
That
Right?
should be the first step. Yes.
At the heart of all this, we just got done. Me and Michael were present. So was Larry. Justice Angel stood up in that meeting and stated that they are changing some legislation and adding some legislation, so they don't want cops fired unjustly.
What does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you what it means. There's been some snakes within the LSPD. I'll give you an example, Miss Bell, whom, mind you, I had a pretty good relationship for a while. I thought she had a good head on her shoulders. She fucking comes back after like fucking 4 weeks and starts crying about some dumb shit and saying she's going to impeach Moss and Peters to their face.
Okay.
They fire her. Insubordination otherwise after giving her 3 opportunities, but she's still on that smoke. You got a guy named Tackleberry who it literally just shit talks in the back of these PD meetings all day. Had the audacity to say that LSPD should not be able to manage their own certifications, and I guess he was threatened with getting fired because he's been saying a lot of dumb shit. Insubordination, right? And because they went and complained to Angel, she stood up in that meeting and inferred that high command is fucking everybody over. Daisy or Peters are not there to defend themselves, and that they are selectively auditing people.
What does that audit consist of?
Who fucking knows? Getting information that only fits their goddamn agenda. I mean, think about it.
Is there any way to like get that intel if you want?
Oh, probably not.
Okay, so
If
they
you
can spin
attempted
whatever
to-
narrative they want to because they can cherry pick the information.
Yeah,
that they're
if
going
you
after,
attempted
and
to
no one has
FOIA
know
it,
about it.
they'd say it's just an ongoing investigation. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and the proof is in the pudding, right? Either Bella Tackleberry went to them and she made a conclusion that high command is firing people inappropriately. This person is fucking brain dead. And this is justice. Like, who the fuck
right to
listens to
work state.
one side, no facts and evidence, makes legislation, and then has the audacity to throw fucking Daisy and Peters under the bus in front of all their subordinates? Fuck you. I'm going for fucking smoke. Whatever the
It does
outcome
seem-
is the outcome.
It does seem like a little bit of an overreach to have like 1 or 2 complaints and then immediately react by pushing for legislation versus having the conversation with the people involved.
Yeah.
Why is it that the justice is the person like in that position with that power to make that call? Isn't like aren't these things supposed to be separate, like the marshals and the justices and
They haven't been. That's
Yeah,
the
you would think
problem.
so.
Yeah. And most of them vote in whatever Angel's sway is, even though it doesn't make any sense. So
is there anything that can be legislated to like create a little bit of separation there?
well, that's kind of the beauty of it. Before you joined our cabinet, we wrote an open letter to the DOJ, and the response was, haha, hee hee, we can't read and have basic comprehension skills. And had a dog shit response, and then they just fucking closed the thread so we couldn't respond back. Everything we pointed out, they changed. So we're going to be doing very similar. It is the most gross abuse of power I've seen in a minute. And there's something else that, Kevin, is fuck, I was gonna mention it to you, but this has been ongoing for a minute, and the reason why it's so concerning is it's just another case of they can do some dumb shit and put up red tape, which takes days of effort to resolve.
Yeah.
And you know, it doesn't help anybody. You know, it really doesn't. I mean, look at this weed shit that just passed. Bro, we put it on their fucking desk 2 months ago. And then they in the meeting was just like, post it up on like you normally would. Like, what? Why'd you waste our time for 2 months then?
Yeah, based on like being an outsider for half of this, I think the best approach is just going to be to flood the field with literally everything simultaneously and just
Yeah.
have constant pressure going on something. Because the second you
Agreed.
give these people like the second to breathe or to think or to like operate on their own like base instincts, they're immediately going to try and like be petty and stupid and create bureaucracy for the sake of having bureaucracy.
Here's the thing with that though, Kev, is that we can put legislation up there and they can just fucking ignore it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Optically, it's bad for them, but there's nothing that says you need to acknowledge that we posted legislation and move it to the next phase. If she wanted to, she could just not look at City Hall for the next 3 months.
I mean, but we have like a voice too, right? Like we can drive
do,
the narrative
sure.
that like, hey, yo, this is up there. We need some action on that.
Absolutely, we can. But I don't know. We've seen momentum slowed so often with legislation that we've put forward just because no one ever moved it forward.
Yeah. Is she the only one who can move the legislation forward?
No, I've seen McNee do it. I think I've seen Weiss do it. I've seen other justices do it, but
Okay.
95% of the legislation goes through her.
All right. Do we have any like good relationships with the Justice Department that we could potentially get a quote unquote pocket judge on our
Wait.
side?
We can't because there's 3 justices and they're all Angel's bitches.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, well, well, here's the thing. There's Angel, there's Hot, and then there's, what's his name? Hollow. And mind you, this is how deep it goes. Hollow is involved in the Hydra raid, yet these guys are getting fucked for what another justice said. So it doesn't, you know, it's literally these people are killing off the city, like literally.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know anything about the high trade.
Yeah, the whole fucking thing with that. So.
Okay, and like judges, so like Ava just became a judge, right? Like Ava doesn't have any power in this.
Oh,
She
that's
doesn't have any power influence yet. I wouldn't count on her as being a resource yet.
There's 3 tiers of judges. There's justices, and then judges that the justices hire in, and then there's the judges that are voted in by the people. The people that are voted, the judges that are voted in, need to be hired by the justices. So you can get voted in as a judge, and you can only do like traffic citations and bench trials.
What?
Yeah. And
Hey, hold
only
on.
if you fit the vision of Justice Angel will you get actually granted powers.
Oh hell!
It's
no.
cooked as shit.
Wait, this shit is like built to fail. What the fuck?
Yeah, brother.
No kidding.
Exactly.
Welcome to
and
season 2.
And it wouldn't be if it wasn't for the. I don't even think these people know that they're corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, as a
Institutional
lawyer, the state of the DOJ and the fact that things are constantly in flux makes it where I cannot really do my job confidently, and it's a massive problem.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, the laws could be changed at any point in time without prior notification. I could be down there in the cells arguing something for somebody and be completely wrong.
You could have your bar license stripped for no reason.
Yeah, potentially.
I mean, I was telling Nino earlier, wasn't Roman fearful of that, or someone was investigating him for it? He and I talked about this a while ago. And then Siobhan, when I had my whole little, scuffle with Hayes and Dukakis,
Yeah.
Siobhan wouldn't even take my case to court unless she had some legislative protection. So that her bar
Oh,
license can be
that's
stripped,
true.
right?
Yeah.
So this is the whole double standard that Angel walks into the PD meeting and says, you can't do this, while doing the exact same thing with lawyers.
Yep.
It's fucking cooked, man.
It's so cooked. Yeah.
You don't need to be a lawyer to see this, Archibald. You just need some functioning brain cells to realize how fucked up this is.
Yeah. 100%. It is so Kim Jong-un that I don't even know what to say. You know what I mean? It's if you're not marching this way, if you're not doing this, you're doing it wrong. Fuck you. What the fuck have the marshals done of value? What has Angel done of value to the citizenry and to the departments? Nothing but rot.
You know what's crazy? Like, just based on like looking at how this whole thing works, if she ever decided that like she wanted to legislate in certain budgetary like things, she could probably just decide how the economy works without anybody actually having like
She
any
can decide how
influence
the
or
whole
effect over
fucking
it.
island
Yeah.
works.
Like she could
I-
just give
anything.
herself like a $100 million budget to do
So
whatever she wants.
here's so these are the so she could do that, but we have a way to fight it. The problem is that the energy expenditure for fighting it is cost 10 times as much.
Oh yeah,
right?
I can believe that.
So when the marshals are doing and the DOJ, whatever, one big fucking snake, go do some crazy shit like this, now we have to be off. Instead of helping Los Santos County build, we have to prevent this force from like destructing.
Yeah.
Bro, let me give you you know what happened yesterday? News for all of you. Is they had a marshal show up on a random call and take over the scene and then tell an officer to charge someone with gun charges. The guy didn't even have a gun.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that is like a whole nother level of insanity. I mean, so let's say that goes to court, right? And this guy doesn't have a gun
Yeah.
evidence, then what?
I feel like we've been just fighting for like 4 months now, and I feel like we're not getting anywhere. So I don't even know if we should fight anymore. I think that we should just take a whole different approach because this is ridiculous. This is all we've fucking done. This is all we've been doing. The entire campaign is fucking fighting, and you want to keep fighting. For what? What are we fighting for at this point? We keep doing it. I
Yeah.
feel like all this fighting is leading to death ears that we need to do a different approach to it.
Yeah, we need to fucking bomb the fucking courthouse.
Yeah, let's do it then.
Okay, well, before we take that step, we could also, like, we have a list of things that we can do or try to do. I think we
Yeah.
flood the field while Pred causes whatever chaos he's trying to cause. And if, for whatever reason, our shit doesn't get looked at, then, you know, we do the whole witch hunt thing and
I'm
boom,
telling you that
bam.
this person
Yeah.
already has too much power and that we're not thinking correctly. I feel like we're gonna waste that time doing these things and they're not gonna lead anywhere.
Honestly,
Fine.
I feel like if possible, we should be going above her head, but that would be like the governor or somebody else, and I
Yeah,
don't even.
That's what I feel
Uh,
like should
close to
happen.
that.
I'm yeah, don't sweat it too much in regards to that line. Yeah. There
I mean,
are-
let's. If we try and start the market, for instance, right? Like, is she
Yeah.
just gonna stop us from that process? Like, that feels like an unpopular position.
bro, she stopped weed legislation.
And she's also not elected, so why does she care about the popular decision?
Well,
Like,
that's the thing,
Exactly.
right?
What is
keep-
stopping? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say you're approaching this, Archibald, from the standpoint that she understands her role is to ensure legislation is constitutional.
Oh no. I understand the way it is versus the way it's supposed to go. I'm just expressing my frustrations.
With like the marshals, okay, what's stopping us, or I guess Moss and them from just saying no, from just being like, don't come into my police department? Like what? Like where? I don't understand.
Well, that's what they were talking about. They're like, I was talking to. So Maxwell runs PNT. She has cadets coming up to her and being like, "We're so confused. We don't do it. Did we do something wrong, etc., etc." Because I don't think Angel actually has a grasp of what is happening outside of her little bubble. That I think deep down inside of her, she believes that her thoughts represent the whole, when the reality is the whole does not think the way that she does.
And I fully believe that she is working in what she believes to be the best course of action. I just disagree with that course.
Yeah. Well, well, of course. I mean, the thing is, like, if you, how often is she in tune with the populace of the individual PDs? There is pattern behavior where she specifically speaks to at best a dozen individuals. Her marshals were obviously going to march in her order, otherwise they lose their job, right? Or like the lawyers, or like, you know, you get what I'm saying? Like, if your input is so limited, your understanding of the city becomes limited as a consequence. Look at it. Either Tackleberry or Bell or whatever went and complained that they got fired unjustly, and she has unilaterally decided that what she heard was the truth and is now making legislative change based on that.
Did she say what that change is going to look like?
She said, I don't know, maybe it's up. Let's take a look.
I'll check the
I
city
don't
website,
see
if anything's there.
anything. Yeah.
Nothing up on the city website yet.
What are we looking for?
I just seen if Angel posted up anything about what she announced.
Yeah. She said coming soon, so I cannot get over the fact that she had the audacity to shit on LSPD's entire high command while they're not present. Like that, what a shitty thing to do.
So why can't the command tell them to fuck off? What's stopping them from telling the marshal?
They're probably
to
just
fuck
going to
off?
be like, where were the oversight? You can't make us leave.
Who the fuck
Yeah.
is? Why? Like who's?
Yeah.
They can't do that.
I mean, they
I
could
don't
leave too. They
understand.
could
I feel
just
like,
not tell
like
where the
we're
meeting
being
is.
stepped on. Like we're doormats at this point. I feel like that's all we're doing.
Everybody
And we're allowing
is.
it to happen. Like we're allowing this shit to happen. Like why don't we do something instead of like writing shit down on a piece of paper? Because obviously it's not fucking working.
No, I mean, it did, though. Here's the
Did
thing,
it?
Tilly. Yes.
Thanks for
How?
training.
That open letter, every single thing we pointed out in that open letter was addressed by the DOJ. DOJ now has to vote on legislation. That was a
And tell me
bigger
what that
conversation.
did.
I think you want to see a bigger change than what we're seeing at a faster pace, and I don't disagree with that sentiment.
Yeah, same. Most of the stuff that we are even doing right now is basically just exposing chinks in the armor and getting in where we can. And we're getting as much as we can. And we're either going
That's
to keep
right.
doing that until the dam breaks and we're able to push through,
Mm.
or until we meet too much resistance. And then at that point, hey, listen, I'm a socialist. I know how to build a guillotine. We'll do what we got to do. But
So
in the meantime,
when the dam breaks, right? That's what you're saying. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? What do you expect? Like, what's gonna happen when the quote dam breaks?
I honestly, from my perspective, it's a lot of hypothetical right now. The idea is you push as much legal as possible as you can to go through the actual bureaucratic process and use that to the best of your ability. And if things work out, then either there's a change in who's at the top making decisions, or the laws are heavily opened up and the person who it was a problem, or
Yeah.
people who were a problem, at the very least step the fuck out of the way so that progress can be made.
So here's another thing, right, Tilly? Is the point of that open letter was make these changes, address them, otherwise we can impeach you.
And how long will that? What's the time?
It's rather quick. And who would oversee that would be powers above the justices, more than likely.
Oh, fantastic.
So I there's already a path that's available. I think what you're stepping into, Tilly, is more how brazen they've become at this point. And so here's where I see our the next steps here. Yes, let's push the market stuff. Fuck it involving them with the residency shit. I'm not these people are too stupid to have a meeting with, quite frankly.
Can I remove the clerks from that entirely then? We'll just
Yeah. Let's yeah.
got it.
We're gonna start with the market. Everybody should see it in the draft legislation. Please take a look. Add your comments. I'm gonna review it as well. We're gonna push that out. Michael, on that list of things we got to do at some point, I want this whole like flight legislation reworded. It's so shit.
Oh, the Airmaster one that Bill
It's
wrote?
so confusing to read.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
I
It was
know.
one of those ones where we're like, let's just post it because we need it.
Yeah.
But because we were working on other things, but it really doesn't need to be rewritten. But
I got you.
and then we post the residency thing. I've been meaning to speak with head of construction in regards to, because I don't know what Pred was saying yesterday, but I want to try to get it onto one of these. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna see what the feasibility is, and I want to know that before even talking about it. This is kind of the premise of why I'm like, what? I don't understand the meeting with Angel, because what the fuck does she have anything to do with this?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, right? Like,
Yeah, I do.
their job begins and ends with whether or not something is constitutional.
Exactly.
I am
Yeah,
not
exactly.
interested. Listen, when they're fucking doing shit like this in such like gross bad faith, why the fuck would I want their consultation?
I agree.
Like, I don't know.
Did you have the conversation about the court center?
With her, no.
No, with whoever you were gonna have the conversation with, the construction people.
Yeah, that's opening up. Yeah. So,
Oh, okay, so 100%.
nah, it's still hearing back. So,
Okay.
yeah. But we're gonna push through with it because it could take like a week, 2 weeks for this to come to a home. So,
Okay, yeah, because let's just say they said no, then maybe you could appropriate safe funds to purchase the industrial property and then the one in Obrero House, and maybe that could be like the fulfillment center portion of it.
sorry, say that again.
Let's just say they did say no,
Mhm.
that wasn't feasible. There is a large property on the market now. and
Yes.
It could be
it's
where
a
the
shit
fulfillment
spot,
center gets.
but I agree with you. Yes.
Apparently, a bunch of other properties opened up in that area. Like
Yeah.
Larry, I think was trying to
Four
purchase
of them.
something.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Oh.
open like the Plucker gas station or some shit. I don't know.
I
But-
just bought a commercial space last night too.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but in the event that like we got a no, it could be how we move forward. So I don't really know who has the money to buy this property currently.
I know of one group that's they're one conversation away from buying it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I went to go look at the facility yesterday, and I couldn't figure out where the door was, and I kind of wanted to see inside, but I do agree with you. I wish it was in a better spot. I really do, because then we could have just used that. You know what I mean? But I'm
Yeah.
going to push very heavily for us to try to get this property and for it not to randomly show up on the market, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if it shows up for like $50 million, there's probably you're probably the only person who has the access to funds.
Yo, don't give anyone any ideas.
Yeah.
What's up next? Oh yeah, Michael. I feel like I'm giving all this to Michael, but it kind of falls in his
It's all
space here. We need something on our website for all events. Something simple, even if it's a Google form, right? If you go to losantos.me/invoice or something, like all these separate text messages and whatever about this event and like this bro, it's too much. We need an Excel sheet. I'm losing track of it all.
Like for the people making requests and getting reimbursed, you mean?
Reimbursements, event requests, whatever it is, it should all go through a singular form where
Do
they
MOPEC too?
yes
Roll it all up into one.
yeah, like maybe have it a drop down so it's like MOPEC, event
I get it.
request,
Yeah.
event reimbursement, food reimbursement, vehicle reimbursement. So the onus is on that party to submit it.
Okay, so let me just make sure I understand this. They complete some form on our site that automatically adds the line item to the list.
It adds it to like an Excel sheet, and then we
got you.
can tick that Excel sheet with a comment of did we send it? Is it refused? And if they, let's say we reject it, right,
Yep.
with X, Y, and Z, it has a phone number so we can text them, hey, rejected because of X, Y, and Z, and then they have to resubmit it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can do that.
Because it's you get what I'm saying. It's getting too hard to track it all.
Need like a fucking CRM at this point.
Yeah, I know, right? Anything y'all want to bring up? Anything you're working on, or whatever it might be?
Oh, I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
So before I joined the cabinet, I mentioned to you about the voucher program to potentially get food stall operations outside of the food court. What is your general opinion of that at this point? Like,
Could
you be
you
open to
re-explain
doing,
the
like,
idea just so it can refresh my memory, and then everyone else can hear it as well?
Practically speaking, we as staff, we sell food vouchers. Imagine you come up to me, I sell you a food voucher for $100. You take that to a food stall operating outside of the food court. They will give you a full meal, and then in exchange, they come back to us, and then we give them $1,000 for that transaction. And just scale this up for however many meals they do during the day. The idea being that, like, okay, we're subsidizing the fact that these businesses don't actually have the ability to have Goober customer or Goober drive business to their location, one, and then two, they're potentially bringing life to destitute parts of the city. The caveat to like this whole thing functioning correctly would be there would have to be at least one food stall at the food court who's willing to work with some of these businesses as like a kitchen rental type thing. But assuming we could find one, which I do think we could find one because these agreements have existed in the past, I think that we could potentially get it snowballing. For example, Larry wants to potentially open like a Lucky Plucker variant. You know, he might work with the Frank's people to get some sort of chicken item.
So like ghost kitchens.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I ran Big Dog Noodles, I had like a guy who wanted to open a bodega on the south side. We sold him the food, and then he just marked it up a little bit, and he would buy like 20 a day or something. It's not going to change the world, but it is possible if the voucher system sort of catches on that these people might compete, if not surpass, some of the less active food stalls, which I think is good, right? Because the people aren't running these businesses, they deserve to die.
Understandable. So I want to actually pass. This is also on my list with the talking to the folks. Is I rather try to convince construction to allow people to go and walk up to a vending machine and rent it up to X amount of time. And it's a small bandwidth of time, and they can fill that vending machine with food. The vending machine would charge double of what is on the menu for where they make the purchase from, right? So let's say noodles are $200. If you put a noodle in there, it charges $400 to the customer. This makes it so the stalls don't become irrelevant, and you're paying double for the convenience. But and of that double, that extra 200 on top, like 30% goes to inside the vending machine, 70% goes to the county. Okay. So that might be a way about it, but the reason why what you're describing is unlikely to happen is kind of a limitation of our, from my understanding, mind you, a limitation of how the stall works. If you were to put, let's say, Larry's chicken food, right, onto one of the stalls, then they would have to serve that food at the stall.
No. Okay, so when I ran Big Dog Noodles, the people who were getting food through our kitchen, we would list it at a price that was north of the Goober breakpoint, or the Goober like customer cutoff, which is like $250 or something. So all the food would be listed at $1,000. So that was never an option for people who were doing Goober.
So you can
circumvent
Goober?
Yeah, you can.
Write this idea down, Kevin, and let me make sure it's kosher with the Food Administration
I
Department.
will say
Okay.
there is already the coffee shop already has a deal, I believe, with the kebab shop because the coffee shop can't make their own cupcakes. They have to get someplace
Yeah,
else to
yeah,
make those. So it'd be similar to that.
These deals exist, and you know, while I see the advantage of the vending machine, I think we're servicing two different sectors of the population, right? Like if we do vouchers, we're enabling the people who want to run businesses outside of the food stall. If we're doing vending machines, we're enabling people who want access to food. Where I think if we went the voucher route, we potentially create more scalability within the ecosystem of the people who are running the food stalls, right? Because imagine if you're like a hungry entrepreneur who wants to start a business, who has the network to do it, you set up a relationship with whoever the ghost kitchen is, you start your shit pops up, and then people are calling us nonstop to buy 10, 20, 30 vouchers at a time because they want to go and support their friend's business.
Yeah.
That's creating energy that's being pushed through the city's economy in a way that I don't think just like filling people's bellies is going to do.
Yeah, I think let's see what the Food and Health Administration says. I think
Okay.
Kevin writes something up, and let me see about the feasibility.
Right.
And the you know, that's probably the best course of action, because I just don't want, anytime something is being circumvented, it's you know, it could raise alarms with you know, you get what I'm saying.
No. I do see what you're saying, and I'm like, we're obviously like using the state budget to like circumvent something that is already kind of like existing. I'm just of the opinion that like, now this is my opinion, right? This is not something that has to be shared by the administration, but I feel like the food court has failed in like maybe one of the more important ways, which is to like help people who want to do like actual business shit be able to do business shit using the vehicle of a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Those places have become like the passive money printers of gangs and crews, of which most of their members have no interest in ever actually doing anything food or business related. And because of how you have acquired them historically and how people have kept them since, there is no way for people who genuinely want to fill that role to be able to fill that role.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That is probably one of the biggest challenges. We've tried tackling it a couple times, and it seems like it always falls back on like state construction and whatnot.
Yeah, that's why I like the idea that we could just go to scraps, print the fucking things that we need, and then we can keep track of who's getting how much.
Yes,
you know what I'm
abso-fucking-lutely. Oh
like,
my God.
We could create the whitelist, right?
Well, welcome to another, by the way, thing. The scraps is another problem. So, you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Listen.
Oh my God. Wait, I want to wait. Okay.
Actually, wait, hold on. Before you continue,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
just complete this thought. Like, we could create the whitelist of people that we think are ready, willing, and able to run a business outside of the food court. So,
Yeah.
for example, Larry might be one business, Joe Schmo might be another, fucking Ava might be a third person. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can create that list of people. So these are the only people in the city that we will accept as an office the vouchers back from. So it's not like some random could just pretend to start a food business, collect vouchers from all their friends, and then just cycle and print money. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people would have to be vetted, trusted. They would have to have the business in order for us to like commit to giving the money.
Am I on time or?
Hey, how you doing, Anita? Oh, did
Hey,
you
guys.
contact Nick by any chance?
Yeah, and I told him to
Oh,
meet
thank
us
God.
here too. Yeah.
I was